Set in a New England town with a horrifying past, Little Hope is the second installment in Supermassive Games' Dark Pictures Anthology. Like its predecessor, Man of Medan, all actions have repercussions and no one's survival is guaranteed. So, before you venture into this sinister story, here are 6 things you need to know about the Dark Pictures' Little Hope.
There are an infinite number of directions in which one could travel.
The Dark Pictures Anthology is a series of standalone games that explores different subgenres of horror, each following its own cast of characters. The series' debut, Man of Medan, centered around a modern-day ghost story in the South Pacific, while Little Hope's plot draws on the infamous 17th century witch trials of Salem and Andover. Both games are presided over by the Curator, a shady storyteller who enlists the help of players to fill in each tale's missing details. Branching choices determine the fate of the characters and ensure the story can be replayed many times to explore different outcomes. And as neither game is connected, you don't need to have experienced the previous installment to dive right in. Little Hope follows 5 survivors of a bus crash in modern-day Massachusetts. With an inescapable fog funneling the group towards the town of Little Hope, they have no choice but to delve deeper into the settlement in a bid to find help. The story jumps between the group in the present, a struggling family in the 1970s, and the infamous witch trials of 1692. The characters see themselves reflected in these connected events and witness likenesses of themselves across the different time periods. It's up to players to unravel the mysteries at the heart of Little Hope so that at least some of the group might make it out alive. Each character has their own secrets, strengths, and hang-ups. Will Poulter plays Andrew, who is joined by Taylor, Daniel, Angela, and their college professor John. Players control all of the characters at various points to help forge or undermine the bonds between them and ultimately determine who lives and dies through their narrative choices and actions.
I am doing my best to understand this, just like you and the rest of us.
Little Hope's multiple story threads can be experienced in a multitude of ways. The single-player theatrical cut is for those who like to face their fear alone, while the 2-player online shared story enables you to buddy up to witness different elements of the interwoven story threads, with the choices of one player affecting the options available to the other. There's also couch co-op in the 2 to 5-player movie night mode. Players pass the controller as they take responsibility for specific characters, choosing whether or not to discuss their decisions and just how selfless they're going to be as the tension rackets up. Supermassive has drawn on its own experience in the horror genre with previous titles Man of Medan, The Inpatient, and Until Dawn, as well as a host of wider genre influences to tell the scariest story possible. In addition to the real-world Andover and Salem witch trials, the developer cites Arthur Miller's The Crucible, video game Silent Hill, and a number of films as sources of inspiration, from The Witch to It Follows. The creator's intention is that a real-world event or mythological legend will lurk at the core of each entry in the Dark Pictures Anthology. While Supermassive has retained the cinematic presentation, atmospheric storytelling, and replayability of Man of Medan, it has made a number of changes to help the player experience. As such, Little Hope has a wider range of camera angles, different walking speeds, a hint system, and smoother animation transitions. The developer also took on feedback concerning the signposting of QTEs to avoid springing them on the player. The Dark Pictures Little Hope arrives on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on October the 30th. For more on this fear-filled horror experience, stick with IGN.
Something wicked this way comes.